in every other game that's MMO, right? You have a situation, if it's a competitive game, that you can fight other people or compete with other people, you call it PvP, right? Player versus player.
Right.
And then you have a PVE, environments and game settings that are player versus environment. Um, World of Warcraft, good example where like you have arena, you can where you can go to an area where it's player versus player, and you know it's all out at that point. Like you're gonna do battle with people, and that was the expectation, right? And I see the main complaint or point that people are making is I'm just here to ride against the environment, and so I think rather than looking at it as a substandard, you look at it as a different way to play the game. If you're just there to ride against the environment and the enjoyment of the environment of Zwift, then you're a PvE player. And you don't need a big buy-in, right? But if you're there to compete in a PvP environment for leaderboards and all of those dynamics that are set up specifically for PvP, then I think there is a justification for a buy-in that would make the PvP correct, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
no, yeah, no, I totally agree. I think when I go onto Zwift, I really only really competing with myself, which is the case with Strava segments, so on and so forth. It's all I'm interested in really is because there's always going to be people that are better than you out there. There's always going to be somebody that's faster or quicker or whatever. So I'm only really competing with myself. I'm only interested in how I'm improving against my own personal bests. So the leaderboard that I'm most interested in on Zwift is my own progress, my own sort of improvements times over the island or sprint sections, so on and so forth. But you're quite right that if you're competing for a jersey with other people, or you're racing, because obviously the racing stuff is taking off as well. You kind of want to be pitched at the same level, unless they truly have managed, and I don't know, but if they truly have managed to get all the different trainers to be evenly matched, which I kind of doubt, but you're always going to get disparities. The trouble is that you can't police it either, because people could just type in the wrong weight. Unless it's held in unless the competitions are held in a big hall, and everybody gets weighed in to start with. That's the only way, and they're all sort of on the same trainer. That's the only way a true race on Zwift would work.
Yeah, I think there was something really interesting I saw. So two things. I'm really excited about race mode or some sort of like, you enter the game and then there's an option to push a little button and you create. So like right somewhere on your, on your UI, you can push a button and say start a race and then invite riders, or even like a pop-up goes into the island. So-and-so is starting a race. Who wants to join? You can make it private. You can make it public. And then all of a sudden, all of those riders are brought to a start line. They're all, boom, all their guys are brought right there because they joined. And then you set a countdown and boom, go. You know what I mean? You set the dynamics for how long it is and all that. That'd be so sick. That'd be so amazing. I'd love it. And then
I think that sort of thing will come in due course.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they're working on something like that for winter especially.
But I think the other thing some people are missing on the Zwift Riders thing is that ultimately it's such a huge improvement from what's gone before. Just from an entertainment point of view. I mean, you know, if you don't take it quite so seriously, it's a massive training tool. I mean, all these people, including myself, that have sat on their turbo trainer for 6 hours and done or whatever, and done 100 miles. When would you ever consider doing that in the past?
I think there's only a few. There's far and few who've gone there before. That's for sure.
I know, and now it's becoming a thing. I mean, you know, everybody wants to get the black jersey, and you know, they'll sit on their turbo trainer for 6 hours, and you'd never do that in the past. You know, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you do your Sufferfest video, and you're kind of bored, and it's time to stop watching the garage door and come in.
Yeah, for sure. I've been doing this. I don't know if you read through the channel at all, but I've been doing indoor riding like this because I live in. It probably gets pretty cold by you, right? Jet driver, you there? Is it Al? Right?
Yeah. Sorry. Say again.
Okay. So it gets super cold here. I assume it gets really cold by you too.
Yeah, we don't get the huge transitions. We got generally gets up to sort of 30 degrees if we're lucky during the summer, and drops to, you know, round about 0, you know, for the winter. Very occasionally we'll get down to minus sort of 10 if it's a really bad winter, but it's quite rare.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we're kind of similar, but I think we get we're at 0 to -20 for a month to a month and a half at the worst. And the fat bike's been nice, but that was recent. And preparing for a fat bike ride, oh my gosh, like a long one is like a half a day undertaking. But so I've been doing indoor training like this since 2008. And when I saw Zwift this past winter, I was like, hallelujah, man. Like, this is saving right now. Because, like, I mean, I've been, you know, on a laptop playing video games in a basement with, like, this, you know, stand that was like half creaky, falling apart, that we built. And that was how I would distract myself, was by playing, like what this is, playing a game, right? That weren't cycling games, just to keep my mind from going nuts. You know what I mean? Like, to keep it from just staring at the wall, like you said. And so when this came out, I was pretty ecstatic and knew I had to get into the beta. And I always wanted to stream and get the whole setup with Zwift, kind of launch that to another level of, okay, I really should go stream, kind of a thing. Just because there's actually a game that goes along with what I've been doing for so long. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, totally. Nate, I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. The pizza's arrived.
Sounds good, man. Go hammer the pizza, buddy. Yeah, how many slices has he earned on Zwift? How many slices?